in action. He's back with another long ass fucking introduction. I want to put on my original shirt because that's what I was wearing, and before I decided to do these videos and change outfits or change hoodies, um, this was what I was wearing. So let's keep that consistent, I guess. No, I mean, the bullshit aside, right? Is the message that boring that I have to go and change my outfit just for you to be slightly fooled? I mean, I got more shirts, but I also keep the consistency. All right, chapter 4. So we're already halfway through it. Chapter 4, Sovereign Architecture. And a long ass introduction aside, why is this important? For A, this is not a discussed topic. This is for like some motherfucking workshop between top performers that go to a conference here and there, and then would sprinkle in a couple drops of this shit and be like, ooh, I said something. Well, this is some basic facts. This is the underlying current of the organization culture, right? And I guess the reason is here. Chapter 4, culture is built, not hoped for. Culture is the byproduct of what leaders reward, ignore, and correct. Values on walls mean nothing without systems behind them. Culture must be engineered like infrastructure. Every organization already has a culture. Most just didn't design it. Ain't that some crazy shit? Like, I know the workforce is kind of relatively young, but have you ever seen some dramatic correlations between high school drama and workplace drama? It's very common in like restaurants and service related industries where there's like the female male dynamic and they're both kind of young and undereducated, perhaps undertrained, under informed about boundaries and decent behavior. So at some point, it just kind of gets a little too dramatic, childlike, political, water cooler behavior, very catty. Or some organizations are actually very outspoken about larger topics and a higher standard of operation. Hopefully, our government isn't the high school shit show with a whole bunch of bullies, apparently, right? Chapter 4, culture is built, not hoped for. Core claim, culture is not what leaders say they value, it is what their systems reward, tolerate, and correct. Most, most leaders care about the culture. They talk about it, they workshop it, they put it on walls and websites, and then they're shocked when nothing changes. That's because culture is not a belief system, it's a behavioral outcome. Culture by hope always fails. Hope based culture sounds like this: we value ownership, we're a family, we expect excellence, we care about people. None of that means anything without enforcement. When values aren't backed by systems, high performers feel lied to, low performers feel protected, leadership loses credibility. Culture doesn't decay loudly, it erodes quietly, one unaddressed behavior at a time. Culture is an engineered environment. Um, Culture emerges from three things: what gets rewarded, what gets ignored, and what gets corrected. Not intentions, not slogans, not charisma. If your best people see bad behavior, they adjust. If they see excellence ignored, they disengage. Culture is not emotional, it's mechanical. blah blah blah, how we can build cultures. And like I said, it's available on my website, LXMNV.com. Here's a little story, I guess. The values wall that lied. There was an organization with beautiful values printed everywhere: respect, ownership, excellence. Everyone could recite them. But when a senior performer routinely disrespected others, nothing happened. When deadlines slipped, excuses were accepted. When issues were raised, they were buried. The values weren't false, they were unenforced. Eventually, employees stopped mentioning them. Then they stopped believing them. Then they left. The wall stayed, the culture didn't. So, how is that important in our workforce, in our family, in our church, in our sports teams, right? I know we value competitiveness, and then one of the biggest slogans, I guess, is you gotta cheat to win nowadays. And we can see that the system is rigged, so everybody almost has an incentive to cut corners, to cheat, to lie, to just try to get away with something, you know. Um, and if everybody's cheating everybody, yeah, some of that kind of slips, and some of that becomes kind of the norm, the accepted, right? Like, oh, I got robbed, but I guess everybody gets robbed, so that's the way life works. Well, hopefully not, right? Hopefully we're not just all out here getting robbed and fucking mistreated or treated any which way possible, because at some point we do got boundaries. At some point, if an attacker is coming at you, you got to protect yourself, right? So there's a certain level of personal choice. I don't know, in the workforce, in the team setting, in the army setting, in the family dynamic, somebody somebody has to have a direction. Um, but that same voice of direction also has to be well informed, right? Because I don't know, like in the organization, sometimes there's a lot that's happening, but there's a lot that hinges on the successful outcomes of shit, right? If we're not getting good reviews as a company because the team is kind of slow and sucks and the work comes out looking like shit, um, will the customers go elsewhere, right? um, yeah, they probably will. But then in the sovereign cause, the thing that we discuss is a self destructive clause. At some point, these systems fail, and we can always be like, "Oh, we don't know why." Some factors, some theft, somebody else's fault. It's because fucking Debbie didn't do her reports and this and this and this. Well, these are thoroughly interconnected government agencies, some huge businesses, some huge enterprises, some celebrities with huge networks and influences of power. And they've been taking shortcuts. They've been cheating. They've been lying, you know? They've been doing some weird shit behind closed doors. And all of that lack of discipline, structure, moral code, like that bleeds out in every aspect of life, right? So if I have a bad behavior or a bad addiction or an addiction to smoking products, well, I might have weaknesses in my decisions elsewhere, right? So if I'm an alcoholic, then I might have a lack of discipline in a few other areas. It's not all just, oh, I only fucking break boundaries here once or twice. It's because I break boundaries against myself and break my own disciplines, I am easily able to break many more promises everywhere else, right? And so at some point, instead of accepting that to be as normal, we just have to address it and try to do better. Because does anybody remember the ancient fucking saying, like, be a man of your word? That's some crazy fucking shit, right? Do what you say you're gonna do. Be who you say you are. In this room and the next one. Do what you say you was going to do. Like, be a man of your word. Like, there's a little bit of old fashionedness to it, I guess, right? But if my word is my signature, if my word is my bond, then in a way that's kind of currency too, right? I could make sales with just agreeing to shit. I don't know. That's business 102. Like, as a businessman, you can make a lot of moves just by talking about it or just by making a deal and connecting the dots. So, anyways, these dots got connected. What was the topic? I don't remember. But this was chapter 4, so we're more than halfway done with this month. Why do I keep swearing? I'm currently in my blue collar worker era, so we do talk bad sometimes. But granted, our spiritual leaders are doing some terrible things to a lot of innocents. So a couple swear words might not be too bad. Oh, culture. Culture is built, not hoped for. That's the thing. So we're gonna discuss this instead of being like, one day things will change.